Thank you for joining this session, Winning Engagement with Video, and thanks to Malik and Jose Maria, who've already provided some excellent insights as part of this masterclass. My name is Mark Benthin. I'm CEO and founder of VIIHEALTH. Now, how do we get into all this video? We've got 85% of the United States audience is participating and viewing videos online, whether they be materials produced on TikTok, streaming through Netflix, or on YouTube. It's an amazing amount of content. And fully 3/4 of the video content today is being delivered on mobile devices. Where does that take us? We got hooked on video. And nowadays, it's about 15 times more video that's happening today as was happening 5 years ago. 15 times more video, and that's only 5 years ago. At this rate, Cisco expects that by the year 2022, next year, that fully 82% of all internet traffic will be some form of video, video messaging, streaming, downloads, and the like. It's an amazing amount of content. As part of this process, really what we've been looking at is where's the sweet spot for being able to generate video and have the videos be seen. There's always, the longer the video, certainly the increasing amount of drop-off that will occur. What we've seen is that at less than 2 minutes for core videos outside of the Facebook and outside of the Instagram platforms, that 2 minutes, you generally have a certain amount of drop off, but it doesn't decay that much further. As you go beyond 2 minutes, you have a further decay in terms of the participation up to about the 7-minute mark, where there's a bit of a plateau. Between 7 and 12 minutes, the number of people that will have stayed on and will participate in the video to the end of that 12-minute sequence is approximately the same. And then it degrades further as people really start running out of time. So the focus here is keep the videos short and keep them relevant. Relevant so that they're on topic. Now, if a topic takes 10 minutes to convey, that doesn't mean that you cut it immediately into 5 2-minute slices. It's really about making sure that it's set up properly and the audience is aware of the participation that's going to be involved. In the current day, the video is such an important focus that just including the word video in the subject line of an email actually improves the open rate by 6 to 10%. That's an amazing number. Obviously, there's a great expectation by physicians and participants to be able to actually see materials rather than just read them. And we see that approximately 59% of executives across the board are more interested in viewing a video than necessarily reading the text. So a picture is indeed worth 1,000 words. Now, at the same time, given all this good energy around video, and it is incredibly impactful, some marketers are not convinced or find it difficult or think it can be overly expensive. And we will see more because a lot of these things have become a lot more simple, a lot easier in the current day to be able to create video more easily, thanks to the efforts of Zoom and Teams and during the last year of the pandemic. Everybody's gotten used to being on video, becoming more part of this video ecosystem, and our expectations are such that video can help drive a lot of this messaging going forward. If we look at some of the next key things that are required for really making impactful video and messaging, it really combines 3 components to be able to stand above the crowd. One, you want to make sure that your messages are personalized as possible. So that's both the personalization of the email wrapper, or if it's a rep triggered email, that rep is also part of that ecosystem, being able to personalize that message. We see that actually extending further into personalizing the video, and we'll talk about that shortly. At the same time, there's a really rich set of messages and a really rich set of data points that can be gathered from video based upon how much time is spent, whether there's any attractivity in the video, where the drop-off occurs, and the like. And fundamentally, it's the video attract loop. That's what helps the material to get noticed, to be able to be seen by an audience and to be able to then be remembered by that audience as they move to the next step. So once we combine these elements, really what we want to do now is take a look at video and several offerings in focus to really help you take advantage of these omni-channel trend to be able to make more use of video very effectively with your physicians in order to supercharge those communications. So first up is video email. Might seem straightforward, but videos have been in email for a long time. And generally, they've been a single link or image that the physician must then click on in order to open a window where some 5, 8, or 10-minute experience might be waiting for them. What we've done is taken that a little bit further and said, okay, why don't we bring some of that great messaging that's about that video within that video and make that available as a preview directly in the eyes of the physician upon open so that they're able to see what that video is going to convey, the key messages that are associated with that content, and they can make the determination to then tap and see more. And when they do tap, they're able to experience that video directly in their mobile email browser and then be able to also interact with it should they need to. So what we've done here is to create a very straightforward, simple ecosystem that works within any email campaign delivery system that you already have in-house, or with a rep triggered system that you already have in-house from IQVIA, Viva, and the like. Essentially, what we do is to be able to take the video that can already be produced by your agency, or we have a mechanism that allows you to quickly create video out of non-standard video assets, whether they be closed-loop marketing materials, PDF documents. We've made a way to make it simple to be able to create those original videos and get them approved. Once those videos are created, we use a straightforward approach to be able to create that preview. So those key messages that are seen on open are able to be very precise for that segment of physician and also tied to that content. So the physician is able to see on open quite quickly relevant content and then make the decision to participate further in that video. Once that preview is created, which takes a very short period of time, just with a simple drag and drop, that preview, that video can be added to any email, whether it's a video email through a campaign system or for rep triggered email. And so all of that is taken care of seamlessly by the system to be able to convey video email and allow those physicians to participate in your content that much more. And what we've seen so far is that video emails and video RTEs are getting a much higher click-through rate based upon that attract loop that's tied on open and the facility of bringing content that physicians are interested in and making it simple for them to access within the traditional email system. So we'll continue with another surprise for today. And this is something that we're pretty excited about, and we think it will be part of the next normal. What we call rep-approved video messaging and rep video signature. They're available now for those that already have a Viva infrastructure and rep-approved email. Essentially, what we've done here is taken that core capability of video mail with a preview and a video that's tied to it, which generates a much greater open rate and a much greater click-through rate and time spent with the material. And now we've created the capability for reps to actually also be part of that process, whether through video signature or with a message that's inserted in between that preview and that video message. Great way to highlight different aspects of a video to be able to bring the rep back into that conversation and share with the physician materials that they can then take part in and spend time with. Focuses on 15 to 30-second short sound bites and messages directly from the representatives that are also approved and compliant and delivered as part of that messaging sequence. So how does that work? Essentially, what we're doing here is we've enabled the system to capture rep videos.
Good morning, Doctor. Gabriela here. Please find the highlights of the Drug and Disease Awareness virtual conference that was held earlier this week. I wanted to draw your attention to the session on cancer therapy evolution that received quite a strong reaction.
be able to bring them into the cloud environment, have them be approved by the regulatory teams as required. Obviously, if this is a medical science liaison, then that approval is very straightforward. And from that video, they are then able to be inserted in a special form of a video rep triggered email that flows through within the Viva ecosystem. So this is quite exciting. That means that any rep on any team for any brand across any market can now not only send and trigger an email, but they can also be part of it. They can obviously invite physicians to participate in other information, but they can also share some commentary regarding that information according to a script that's shared and approved by marketing. We think that this is an exciting feature, and it again takes video that much further into the realm of engagements and starts to blend the difference between what is in an email and what is live. All right, continuing on this video theme, it's all about being able to get the message out and also being able to rise above the crowd. So the next item that we wanted to highlight is actually what we're going through today. It's what we've created is an ability to do a cloud EStudio, which has a green screen and a chroma key. That allows us to have anywhere studio set up. So if you're thinking of webinars or physician meetings and you would like to have something that breaks out of either the Teams or the Zoom environment, then you can certainly take a look at something like this with its anywhere green screen, and allows us to record and project the environment for any particular event. So it doesn't matter which environment that you would have chosen as your event platform. This capability allows us to produce a video that is of high quality, that can also be used for promotional and highlight materials after the fact, and to do so in a convincing television-like manner. And last but not least, it wouldn't be complete to be able to visualize the entire journey. Video is very important, but so many other channels as part of this omni-channel construct are being created and leveraged each and every day. And it's very important to be able to reuse materials or content that's been created for one channel in one market and be able to replicate it across other markets. So here we're also providing an update to our Smart Journey Creator that also includes video. So the way it works is essentially drag and drop allows us to move any content from any of the core channels to be used to create an overall omni-channel journey for a particular segment. That can then be copied, duplicated, and localized, and it's essentially a collection of content which allows any market to then implement their changes, their updates to that journey in a way that is clear, concise, and also incorporating all of the latest videos that might have been presented and prepared at a regional or global level. So we're excited about being able to encapsulate the thinking of not just sending messages, but tying them into an overall journey that makes sense from a physician's perspective. So we hope you've enjoyed this session of winning engagement with video. We think that some of these evolutions are really critical to the next step of engagement, and it will help you to supercharge those relationships with physicians, both in the omnichannel environment, the digital environment, as well as with the digital rep environment. So we look forward to those communications and follow-up, and look forward to the rest of the session. And thank you very much for your attention.